The next thing I want to talk about, somebody gave me a link yesterday to a Tim Pool video, and they were talking about the Office of Censorship. Well, I don't know if I've ever heard of this or not, but it's kind of, today it's new to me. The Office of Censorship was actually set up by the United States federal government. The way I look at this Office of Censorship, what is censorship? It's forcing somebody into silence against their will. Of course, the person who's being censored doesn't want to be censored. He doesn't want to be forced into silence. This is the Office of Forced Silence. That's how I read that. The office of, let's demolish the First Amendment, freedom of speech and freedom of press. The Office of Censorship was an emergency wartime agency. An emergency wartime agency. And what will they do? They will treat that as a crisis. And you can't let a good crisis go to waste. And what Rahm Emanuel said is, what I mean by that is it gives you an opportunity to do things that you otherwise couldn't have done. And how does that flesh itself out? What is it they usually do, making the excuse, but there's an emergency, but there's a crisis? They take away your rights and reach deeper into your pockets. If your rights can be taken away due to an emergency, then governments will ensure that there's always an endless supply of emergencies, which will justify the theft of even more of your rights. So then they set up the Office of Censorship because they're like, well, we have to protect national security interests. Anytime you hear emergency, crisis, or national security interests, or protecting national security secrets, you know you're about to lose your rights. And you know that the government's going to use that as a justification to remove more of your rights. So Office of Censorship was an emergency wartime agency set up by the United States federal government on December 19th, 1941 to aid in the censorship of all communications. Some communications, the majority of communications, all communications. This is over the top. This is in 1941, guys. Coming into and going out of the United States, all communications coming into and going out of the United States, including its territories and the Philippines, the efforts of the Office of Censorship, it's crazy. This is like, it's the Ministry of Truth. Yeah, everything that you're going to hear gets filtered through the Ministry of Truth, and when it comes out the other side, there's not going to be any shred of truth to it. It's like the Office of Disinformation, the Office of Misinformation. The efforts of the Office of Censorship to balance the protection of sensitive war-related information with the constitutional freedoms of the press is considered largely successful. Okay, so then what did they successfully do? They successfully cut off your ability to see what's actually going on in the world. And I want to show you this right here. Look at this picture. I don't know. Let me see if I can expand this. Thanks, Ike. We like Ike. Thanks, Ike, the censors. Thanks, Ike, the people who forced Americans into silence, or the people who got in the way of letting Americans see what's actually going on. That's what they're thanking Ike for. Thanks for empowering us. Thanks for carving out some finances and stealing from the tax cattle so that we are able to cut truth off from the American people. I don't care what your justification is. That's exactly what happened. They cut off truth from the ears of the American people. So somebody got forced into silence, somebody who wanted to tell the American people the truth, possibly the truth. There could be some lies mixed in there, but that's why we talk about, I'd rather have dangerous freedom than peaceful slavery. Yeah, freedom is dangerous. People will misuse freedom. They will do things that are bad. But until that criminal activity happens, it can't be taken care of. What these people are trying to do is go, hey, this is pre-crime. There could be something that reaches your ears that, we don't want you to hear it because we're just here to protect you. The protection of sensitive war-related information with the constitutional freedoms of the press is considered largely successful. The agency's implementation of censorship was done primarily through a voluntary regulatory code that was willingly adopted by the press. Even back then in 1941, the press wasn't on the side of the American people, because if it was true press that cared about actually throwing the true truth chips out there and letting them fall where they may, They would have been completely resistant to any concept or idea of the office of censorship or censoring themselves in any way. Listen to this. The agency's implementation of censorship was done primarily through they voluntarily regulatory code that was willingly adopted by the press. The press goes, yeah, sure, we'll censor. We'll lay cover for you, U.S. government. Sure, we'll give you lies and misinformation and obscure the truth, American public. So here you've got a willing press adopting the policies, the regulatory policies of the Office of Censorship, compromising the truth, or at least putting them in position to willingly compromise the truth and not giving the American audience what's going on. The phrase loose lips sink ships was popularized during World War II, which is a testament to the urgency Americans felt to protect information relating to the war effort. Oh, thanks for speaking for all Americans. What percentage of those all Americans actually goes, no, don't protect me with censorship. Don't filter everything through the Ministry of Truth. Don't set up all these policies and regulations where the press is willingly working for the government against the American people to give us misinformation or disinformation. Just give me what the truth is. But they love to speak for all Americans. Oh, yeah. This is a testament to the urgency Americans felt to protect information related to the war. Everybody was on board. Of course, everybody was on board with this. It's amazing they feel the liberty to speak for everybody at all times. They still do that today. Radio broadcasts, newspapers, and newsreels were the primary ways Americans received their information about World War II, and therefore were the medium most affected by the Office of Censorship Code. Amazing, man. Today, second verse, same as the first. Now, who are the censors? Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Those are the censors. Those are the ministries of truth. Those are the ones who are telling you, hey, we're going to protect you with fresh rounds of censorship because you just can't handle the misinformation and disinformation. So here, go get your news from top shelf authoritative sources like CNN, MSLSD, Fox News. Here, we'll give you different flavors. Here, you can have right Fox News media, or you can have leftist media, whatever you choose, but it's going to be censored. It's going to be filtered through the Ministry of Truth. Don't you worry about it. The Office of Censorship. Holy cow. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to this channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know, and don't forget to subscribe to my private email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel, one of the best things you can do is like and share this video with everybody you know, everywhere you can on social media. If you want to support further, the Patreon, Bitcoin, and Subscribe Star links are in the description in the pinned comment. And if you want to support further, you can grab a hard-hitting, conversation-starting shirt from the shirt store. I'll see you guys in the next heavily censored shadow ban video.